Hey, welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian, the unbiased king, Espinal. And joining me through Discord, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the tank top sage. It's Joshua Gangsta Time Cole.
Full partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
What up, Chris? What's good, everybody listening? Y'all hear that?
Ooh.
Hear that voice?
It's Mr. New Mike over here.
And I got a tank top on.
Yeah, to celebrate the occasion. Also joining us, it is our producer. It is Edgelord Big News Brian.
What's
up, nerds? Hey. Hello, everyone. We're back. We're getting a bit of a late start today, but we are in it to win it. We got a couple chapters to talk about this week. Very excited to get into the show proper. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into plugs right away. You can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Joshua, where can they find you?
At JDCole_37. That's on Instagram. And at New Jump City Josh. That's on X.
Oh, yeah. Brian?
You can find me at b.esp on both Instagram and Twitter. And if you ever want to catch me when I'm streaming, you can find me at twitch.tv/itspunchline.
Damn right. You can follow the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram. Email us at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about. And we'll answer it on the pre-show chat show that we usually do right before the show. We skipped it this week because we are starting a little late, but next week we'll be back in full force. And so send us your questions, your suggestions, your comments, all that stuff at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com, or you can comment underneath the video versions of the podcast that you're watching on YouTube. And while you're at it, subscribe, share, like the podcast. That we super appreciate it. If you prefer audio podcasts, we're pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. So, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're on it. So check us out on those platforms. And I think that's it for plugs for now. So without further ado, let's get into the show. One Piece. This is One Piece chapter 1097, Ginny. Last we left off, we were continuing the flashback explaining the past of Kuma, and how he came to be, how he was able to escape the God Valley incident at a very young age and end up back at the Sorbet Kingdom, where his family ran a church. He and Ginny are living there on their own, as Ivankov has decided to go off and figure out his life and enjoy his freedom. And we pick up 8 years after the God Valley incident. So that will be 30 years from the current timeline. So at this point, Kuma is 17 years old. He has basically become a pastor at the church that he and Ginny have settled down at. And he spends his days, every Sunday just extracting the pain out of the citizens in his little village in the south quadrant of the village. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, this is so nice of you. Could you please extend hours to weekdays too?" And Ginny comes in. She's also grown. She's just like, "No. You're asking a lot for people who aren't paying any money." She's basically rejecting them. And regardless, everybody loves her, even though that she's a little brash. But everybody's like, "Oh, all the men in town can't stop vying for her affection, but she's already got Kumachi." And the sight of seeing Kumachi's face makes me feel at ease. And Kuma is like, "Oh, that's so sweet of you." Kuma's enjoying his life right now, helping people. But yeah, the villagers say that they would give as much money as they could, but it's really hard for these civilians to get by now that they're paying the heavenly tribute to the world government. On top of that, they've also got a new king. His name is King Bakori, and he is, surprise, surprise, a piece of shit. Uh, he's a big dickhead. Um, and he says if and he's basically facilitating the paying of the heavenly tribute. So if they don't pay, they'll be thrown in jail because the monarchies of One Piece are abject pieces of shit. But Kuma is there and is just like, well, I can help by removing any light illness or pain you're feeling. So you know you just come every Sunday. And the group of villagers leave, and they're like, "Thank you, Kumachi." Kuma enters his church to find a big pain bubble there. Like very familiar moments to when Zoro on Thriller Bark withstood all of Luffy's pain. And Kuma does something similar with the villagers. He extracts all their pain, and he takes it all into himself. And Ginny is just like kind of reeling at this because as she's helping him recover, she's saying that he does this every week for them, and they don't know that this is happening. And Kuma explains that that he has to do it. Like the bubble will eventually revert to going back to the original owners of the pain if he doesn't withstand it himself. So he's like, "I'm sorry to put you through this anguish, but I'll get stronger and toughen up." And they gave us some food anyway, right? So after this moment, they get some food and they start eating. A couple years later, Ginny asks Kuma to marry her, and Kuma's like, "What? No!" And Ginny's like, "Come on, marry me. You know you love me. I'll make you happy." And Kuma's like, "I know you would, but," and he gets like flashbacks to his father, saying, yelling about how Kuma's mom wasn't a buccaneer, but they still enslaved her anyway. So, Kuma doesn't want to bring her any misery because of his buccaneer lineage. But we also see that Kuma is now reading about the freedom fighters led by none other than Dragon. And Dragon is something of a hero to Kuma, a bit of an example. And he's explained that like one day I want to go out to sea and use my life to help others too. And the door opens. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say, Josh?
And become a robot.
And become a ribby. But yeah, the people are knocking on the door, and it's more dudes trying to bag Ginny. But Kuma is clueless at this fact. He's just like, "Whoa, thanks, guys. This was a totally amicable thing that you guys are just doing." And then I guess some more time passes. Kuma is 25 now, and he's seen that the villagers, I imagine like the villagers of his side of the village have been captured and held prisoner by the king, and Kuma has come to free them. And oh, actually, is this like oh yeah, this is the Royal Army. So they're capturing people who couldn't pay the heavenly tribute, and Kuma fights back. And we see that the king Bakori explains that now starting today that the north part of the island is the actual Sorbet kingdom, and that the world government determines the amount of heavenly tribute owed by the number of citizens. And the south, where Kuma's church is and the elderly villages, is just full of people who are unable to pay their tribute, so they should be cut loose. They're not considered a part of the actual Sorbet kingdom, and therefore the country will be prosperous and balanced if they're not taken into account. So we see that Kuma and Ginny and a couple of the other guys, a couple of other dudes were taken into custody for Kuma for trying to help the old people that were being taken prisoner, and Ginny for trying to help Kuma, essentially. So at this moment, Kuma is getting upset. That his land is being turned into a place of haves and have-nots. But at that point, that's when there's a huge explosion in town, and who the fuck else is there but the revolutionaries? Even Coffin Dragon are there, and they liberate the Sorbet Kingdom, basically, and they free Ginny and Kuma. And after Kuma was added to the revolutionary forces, they became the Revolutionary Army itself. They were the freedom fighters at first, but now they're like a real deal kind of revolutionary military. We get this cool 2-page spread with the Revolutionary Army there. It's pretty cool, pretty sweet. This is Dragon
Revolutionary Force.
Oh yeah. This is Kuma. This is a Dragon before his face tattoos, by the way. But he does seem to have like a leg band with that face tattoo design on his leg, which is interesting. But yeah, we then cut over to, I guess, like one of the revolutionary ships. This is at a point where the revolutionaries were still kind of starting out, even though they have Kuma and they have Eva. They are still lacking in a solid source of funds. So, their plan overall is to act like mercenaries and lend strength to rebellious elements seeking to overthrow their kings. And those who join will be taught to use weapons and fight with them. And one day he wants to raise like a massive armed force scattered across the globe, helping people left and right. Kuma asks Dragon where he learned how to use weapons, and Dragon confirms that he was in the military for a little while. He was in the Navy, and he couldn't find any of the justice that they wear on their backs, because on the backs of the Marines coats, it says justice usually. So he was like, I couldn't find any of the justice they were wearing on their backs, so he turned their back on them. And basically, Eva says it's strange to be at odds when both the Navy and revolutionaries just want to help people. I think like they're talking generally about like folks that even though there's like a corrupt government, it's weird that like people who see themselves as helping are at odds. But yeah, Kuma's like, I'm with you all the way, and Dragon says you won't regret it. And we then cut to 8 years after. Kuma seems to return back to the Sorbet Kingdom. And in the meantime, it seems Ginny is still with the revolutionaries at this point. And she's saying that, she's like a captain of the Eastern forces. And we find out that, tomorrow's the big day. She's very excited that she's going to go meet up with Kuma's group. I guess going back to Sorbet Kingdom, and we see a shadowy figure pulling up to where Ginny is, and the chapter ends with the panel with Dragon now having his full face tattoos, learning that Ginny has been captured, and that's where the chapter ends. And Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 1097?
There were plenty of excellent chapters this week, but there's no way I wasn't gonna give it to One Piece for the type of chapter and the subject matter. So I'm just gonna get RGC, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna get into it.
I'm gonna also say mine really fast. This is also my RGC.
This is my alt.
Yeah.
Unified.
Oh, is it Brian?
Unified RGC. Unified RGC.
Okay. Oda does his homework. That's the first thing I want to say. So when you look at like what the role of a militant revolutionary force is, like, or a movement rather, like in the context of what how can it help people, right? In this case, in One Piece, it's to liberate people from the oppression of the world government and the various kingdoms that, they're like satellite kingdoms that they rule over it, that, oppress the people for them, like, with the kings and stuff. So clearly, Dragon as a revolutionary and the rest of the movement has a clear agenda and plan. Overthrow the oppressive governments around the world where they can, right? And then he even has he stated the goal was to eventually get to a point where there's a global massive movement, which is exactly what, a lot of leftist revolutionary movements have expressed, like within their writings. Because the tough part is that if one nation overthrows their oppressors, that's it, it may be a victory for a while, but it's really hard to maintain that independence when the rest of the world is, you know what I'm saying, in cahoots with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what's in one, you know what I'm saying? So he understands that, ultimately these little uprisings they're causing, aren't enough. And the only way to truly, defeat these global structures that oppress majority of the planet, everyone has to be on the same page. They need movements all around the world, and that's, exactly what, like I said, most socialist programs. Kudos to Oda for that. I'm not gonna really get into it much further than that, but I wanted to acknowledge that I did not notice Dragon missing the tattoos. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, if I missed it
No, yeah, we don't
in One
know.
Piece.
We don't know
But
the difference or what made him get the tattoos as opposed to not. But it seems that he
right,
didn't
because
always
this
have
is
them.
manga. Yeah, because it could just be a tattoo,
Well, it's an intentional choice for
or it
sure.
could be something. Yeah, or it might be something power related. You never know. So, um, and Puma, I, I wonder if we're gonna get more of Dragon's backstory, because it seems like actually you could argue that that's all there is to it. He was an ex-marine and didn't like how things ruled, and he probably was really strong and really smart and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna branch off and do my own thing." Um, I I'm not gonna say that would be 100% satisfying, but I guess I wouldn't cry about it if that was the case. You know what I'm saying? If it didn't really get too much deeper.
We'll definitely
But
get more for sure.
yeah, I think through other people's stories, through the other backstories of other revolutionaries or past events, we're gonna get more of him. I just
Yeah,
don't know if we're gonna see him in the Navy though.
we might. I mean, I think like a lot of like the flashback that's been going on that are lore related. They're kind of like puzzle pieces that we're gonna have to like put together in the end. Like these little pieces that fit in between each other and in and out and all that stuff. Because like with the Wano flashback with Odin, we got little glimpses of Roger's flashbacks and his backstory ostensibly. So I imagine,
Yeah.
because Roger is essentially a supporting character within Odin's flashback. So I imagine there's going to be a perspective shift where we'll see the opposite of Roger being the protagonist and how Odin fitted in his his adventures and his crew. And I think it's going to be the same way with Dragon.
Yeah, I would agree. Uh, I would agree. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Brian, what do you think? Oh, your favorite chapter of the week?
This chapter was really interesting. Um, so first things first, Kuma is such a fucking sweetheart, man. He does not deserve any of the shit that's about to happen to him. Like he just gives and he just takes and takes and takes, you know? Oh, well, not takes. I guess it's gives.
Gives.
He just keeps giving, right? And he just bears all the responsibilities so that nobody else has to. And it's so fucking kind. So it's really weird that he was painted as the tyrant king when he was such a fucking like such a fucking well-mannered and respectful and kind guy, you know, that everybody loved. So I don't know how the world government got away with painting him as that. One thing I will say is that Genie turning into like a stereotypical One Piece female kind of was a little sad. Like it would have been nice if she had like a fucking still had her little tooth gap, you know, like to differentiate her.
Brian, this is Oda we're talking about. Abandon ye all hope. You understand?
It's like if you aren't an old lady, then you are a hot skinny female.
You are Nami.
You are Nami.
If you're not an old lady, you are Nami.
You're either old or you're young. Those are the only two options as a woman. But aside from that, it's really fucking sick to see Kuma's backstory finally, and to get to know him a little bit more, and Dragon by I'm trying to think of the word, association, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where they kind of bust into the kingdom and kill the fucking king was pretty fucking crazy.
I think he surrendered. I don't think they killed him.
I'm
But
pretty sure they kill him.
no, they said the king's given in.
Yeah.
So I think he surrendered. I don't think they would kill him if he surrendered. That's
But
like a
it
war
just
crime for
shows-
sure.
it just shows that the revolutionaries they're not playing around. They only deal with their end of the shit, which makes sense why they wouldn't be around all that much, and the reason why they showed up at Dressrosa, right? Because Dressrosa was kind of in their wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, Doflamingos
Like-
was a king.
Yeah, so it made sense for them to show up there. And now knowing that, you know, pirates and the revolutionaries are like completely different worlds, it's like it makes sense why we don't see them enough. But now we're gonna get. So look, there was only so much that I could figure out about this One Piece chapter, because there's been a lot of chatter, but I couldn't get to them all. So I had to feel the streets. I had to call an old friend and get him to kind of set shit up for me and kind of put together a case. You mind if I put him on the phone real quick?
Yeah. Let me just pull up his music because I didn't know that he was coming on now.
Yeah, he's been on standby since we started the show.
All right. Well,
All right.
go for it.
Detective Norman Know-It-All. Go ahead, buddy.
Today's November 6th, 2023. This was quite the case. I gotta tell you what. Never seen such ferocity and discourse on any of my cases until this one. Well, for starters, this Bonnie character, something just ain't adding up. Says here on the case file, she's 24 years old. But 24 years before this, seems as though she don't even exist. No mention of her. Her parents aren't even married. Kinda weird, isn't it? Wouldn't you guys agree?
I would agree, Mr. Know-It-All.
It's Detective Know-It-All to you.
No, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't make that mistake again.
He's so hard-boiled.
It's so fucking gangster.
Anyway, my theory is, well, there's actually a few possibilities that are going on here. Well, there's one, that Bonnie is a kid. That's right. And her age devil fruit manipulates her age so that she seems like she's older than she is. That one I feel like is a very likely possibility, but the second one is quite interesting. A lot of talk on the streets that Bonnie is actually Ginny, whose memories were altered so that she didn't know who she was.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It blew my mind too when I heard of it. How sick could the Marines be, manipulating a young woman like that? I hate their guts. And now,
And that's gross.
yeah, pretty gross.
It's pretty disgusting, man.
The implications.
I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus fucking
That's-
Christ.
My mind went there first.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty nasty stuff. But now I started thinking, what if Ginny is actually also Luffy's mom?
Yo, I thought the same thing. I thought I
Think
was
about it.
dumb, but I mean, like, I did
Think
think
about
that.
Kuma wasn't panning out. So Dragon slipped in.
That's insane. That's absolutely crazy.
Sir.
That's insane.
Yo,
I don't know if I like that.
A man who seizes every opportunity that he can find. You're gonna tell me that
hey man, a woman has her needs, right? If Kuma ain't
Exactly.
doing it, your boy Dragon will pull up, fulfill the need.
I think
There
Kuma.
came Luffy.
I feel like Dragon's so much older than Ginny.
nah.
Okay.
This is One Piece, bro.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, with that, that convinced me, Brian. Or sorry, Detective Know-It-All.
excuse me.
Sorry, Detective Know-It-All.
Hmm. That's what I thought I heard you say.
It's dumb.
Anyway, there's one more big theory on this.
Oh.
The theory that Ginny is Bonnie's mother.
Ginny is Luffy's mother or Bonnie's mother?
Bonnie's mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Well, that's
theory.
not it. I mean, it's kind of straightforward. Though.
It feels like right.
The most outrageous theory I think we have so far. Wouldn't you guys agree?
No, I feel like that makes the most sense.
If Bonnie, if what's her name survives, Ginny, then yeah, it's like probably the most realistic opportunity. You know, I mean, outcome.
Anyway,
Unless my nigga Dragon slided in, you know.
That's insane. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that like tracks with One Piece's style. I feel like Dragon wouldn't do that.
don't tell me what Dragon can and can't do, okay? I hit the streets, I hit the hard pavement, and I was the one on the streets asking the questions on the streets. In the streets. With the streets.
You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
And
to.
what about that new tattoo on his face? Hmm?
You see, my boy Dragon, he's all about sending a message.
He
You
put
know-
on the "I just fucked your bitch" tattoo. That's what that was.
You see, my theory is the world government is all about killing the past, but how you gonna kill the past if it's on the most notorious man alive's face? Maybe it's something that has to do with the ancient civilization. But then again, that's just my personal theory. Anyway, I think that's all I got for this case file. I'll catch you guys later. Brian, you could send me the invoice. Thank you, Detective Know-It-All.
Glad he said to send you the invoice, cause
It's coming out of the show's
I'm not.
budget.
Yeah, I mean, our budget's pretty small. I don't know how I feel about you just hiring private detectives without
Listen, man, I'm a busy guy. I can't always be on Reddit or on Twitter, kind of figuring shit out. You know.
Well, the show's accountant, Gingerbread, my cat, is very upset. She knows that there's not enough budget for Detective Know-It-All.
Well, we got to figure it out because like he's
You're
kind
gonna
of
have to use the
expensive.
plug again, Chris.
I don't want
Get
to.
another guest appearance. Oh
Anyway,
man! All right.
those are
Well,
my thoughts.
Well,
were those all your thoughts along with Detective Know-It-All?
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
well, this is really obviously my RGC because of all of the sweet, sweet lore. But
Oh yes, the lore.
the lore. I love me lore. That was cool. Lots of questions, really. I feel like the tattoos do mean something. They have to. There has to. I don't know because he has like a version of them on his leg here, as a band, and now they're on his face. So something happened. These
Stands
things.
for I got G. What's her name? Gina.
Ginny. Gina.
I got Ginny Prego.
I feel like they're markings of the old of that civilization that was like genocided by the world government 800 years ago, the Void Century civilization. Just as a constant reminder of like, I know what you did. That's my theory. The person who came to get Ginny, I bet it's a Kainu. That's my guess.
I think so too.
Because when
Why a Kainu?
because when pre-time skip, this is like right before the time skip, Bonnie was defeated by Blackbeard, and she was chained up and left on an island for a Kainu to find. And when she saw,
Yeah, I remember.
when she saw a Kainu, she told him that she would never forgive him for what he did. So I'm thinking that it like Akainu puts a series of events in motion that led to Kuma having to give up his humanity, and I think it starts with Akainu capturing Ginny.
That's a good theory.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's super interesting stuff. It was cool to see the like revolutionaries in their heyday, like when they were first starting out. Kuma with eyes is cool to see. You know, because he's always had like, I guess like, you know, like kind of glass robot eyes for as long as we've known him. So it's cool to see him like look more human.
Human eyes.
Human eyes. We're gonna humanize him, but EYES him.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, write that down. That's probably gonna be the title for
There you
today.
I'm doing
bars.
it right now as we speak.
That's bars for real.
Humanize them.
That's like slam poetry. You know?
Humanize, realize, real eyes.
We're gonna
Wow, you
humanize.
remembered all of that.
We're gonna humanize with human eyes.
And if you lie, you get a star in your eye.
If you lie, you get a sty in your eye, in your human eye. That's slam poetry. It's pretty easy.
This might be the last chapter we see Kuma as a full human.
I feel like next chapter will probably be the last chapter we see him as a full human. I feel like there's going to be one
Have a
last
lot of
thing where
faith.
he's like, okay, you could take me and make me into a robot. And then he'll become a robot. The other person it could be is Kizaru, but I think it's a Kainu because of the history implied.
Yeah, it's most likely.
Yo, Kuma said some grimy shit to Frankie before the time skip.
Did he?
Yeah, man.
What do you
I
say?
watched some anime scene on Instagram, and he sent the shockwave to Frankie, and he was like, "Oh, if you want to call yourself a cyborg or something like that, something about him not being an impressive robot." And I was like, "Damn, come on, Frankie."
You might be the next best thing, but you're not me.
He was supposed to be Kuma. when he came back from the time skip. Am I not the only one that felt that way? Like he was supposed to
No.
be like Kuma level now, at least.
Well, he is Kuma level now, I think.
Yeah, right. He's at least as strong as one of those pick
Pacifistas.
PX whatever pacifistas. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
He's definitely way stronger than a pacifista.
Yeah.
Like,
What
there's
about
no way
the real thing?
he isn't stronger than a pacifista. Like, it's impossible.
Mm.
Who's not?
No, I'm saying it's impossible for him to not be stronger
How do you feel
than a
about that, Chris?
pacifista.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it would
Like,
make
he's-
sense for Frankie to be stronger than a pacifista.
He's like the 4th or 5th strongest on the crew, right?
I would think so. I think like Frankie's low key underrated. I think he's like 4th or 5th.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's not 4th.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Is
Jinbei,
basically what I'm saying.
Jinbei's on the crew now.
Yeah, so I would say he's like 5th.
Actually, Nami might be. Not Nami. Robin might be strong. Wait, Nami might be stronger too with Zeus now.
Eh, I don't know.
Bless you.
Frankie no diffed one of the Toby Roppo.
Yeah, but he was a fucking lame ass fucking bitch.
Okay, that was a
Kinda
Triceratops.
He was hard boiled.
No, he wasn't.
He was a Triceratops, Brian.
He definitely was not hard boiled.
Doesn't matter. It's a big deal. This is a fucking Warlord crew member, and he no diffed him. Frankie took
No, Pink was hard boiled.
Among all the Straw Hats, Frankie probably took the least damage.
On Wano?
Yes. He lost to General Frankie, but he himself probably took the least damage.
I don't know. Brooke definitely took 0 damage.
Brooke also didn't take much damage himself.
he was as healthy as a fucking skeleton could get. I don't think he even pulled out his sword.
I think he
was
did. He
getting
did. He
ragged
did
in
pull
the
out his sword.
previous arc.
Frankie ran over Big Mom's face with his motorcycle, and then he was not scared when he looked at her. When she looked at him, so she couldn't take his
Frankie's never
soul.
scared.
Yeah, he's built different.
Yeah, there wasn't. Think about that. There's no way that Big Mom would have been able to take Frankie's soul because he wasn't afraid of her after he ran over her face with his motorcycle.
Yeah, that guy's fucking assembled all.
I'm making the
put some
case for
respect on his
Frankie
name.
5th strongest in the crew.
All right, fine.
5 out of 10's not bad. There's 10 crew members.
My man Monster Chops has fallen from grace.
He has.
Sad. What can you do? I guess that's a good sign of growth for the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not really Chopper's place to be like a fucking strong ass fighter anyway.
Nigga, watch your mouth about Monster Chops, all right? Listen,
Monster Chopper was part of.
he was that nigga a few years ago. He was out here alone.
Yeah.
I was out here telling people, I ain't gonna lie, man. If Kuma couldn't teleport people away, I don't even know what they was gonna do about the big guy. But you know, it ain't like that no more. He did fight Big Mom.
He did also flip Queen.
Yeah, he like pile drives Queen as Monster Chopper.
Pretty
Wait, maybe
gangster.
Chopper is like 3rd strongest.
Okay, all right. Let's not go crazy here.
You're right. He's
Yeah, let's
second-
relax, Brian. Huh?
He's 2nd strongest, actually. Sorry,
Second.
I
Okay,
know.
now you know what you're doing.
I was
right now?
underrating him.
You know what you're doing right now? You're pissing me off. Are you happy now? You're pissing me off.
I'm sorry, my king.
You happy? All right. I guess that's all my thoughts on One Piece. Fantastic chapter overall. Lots of lore, fun times. Oh, one thing I did want to comment on. What happened to the Sorbet Kingdom? It sounds really awfully a lot like what happened to Luffy's kingdom.
Luffy's kingdom.
You remember, like where he grew up, where there was like that half of the island that was just lawless, and there was the half of the island that was Sabo, where Sabo came from, that were all full of nobles and stuff.
You know what's crazy? I had actually wanted to talk about that, but that was a really good point.
I think that was just like an interesting touch
Yeah.
that the world government just seems to do this. They seem to just allow countries to just split themselves in half from like
That's the key
upper
word.
class to lower class.
I mean, it's whatever gets
The
their
key word is
fucking money.
allow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that. So the crazy dynamic of that is like, if you really pay attention to like what's being shown in the chapter. Basically, like they probably could afford it for the rest of the kingdom. It would just be really, really tough, like how it used to be. But the king and this upper part of the island and the people that live there, well, probably not every single citizen, but the leadership of the island, obviously, like they wanted to hoard all the wealth.
Yep.
So much and the government couldn't care less because they're saying, look, like, all right, we only have this amount of citizens, and so they're probably encouraged to treat the other people who aren't citizens anymore even poorer, just to prove that, oh, these aren't people we have to account. These aren't actually people, as they say, not a real person. Like from what's the
Succession.
name of the show? Succession, yeah. So I thought that was really like well articulated how perverse like the greed is, like how the world government turned a bad situation worse and allowed it to kind of degenerate into that. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I was when I was reading this, I was like, oh man, this is like reminds me of like that garbage town that Luffy like came up in. That was just.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say like wage labor.
Oh,
or
it's part of
something
that too.
like that.
Like it's just. No, it
I was
is.
gonna
That's
say,
what.
like real life.
No, I mean it is. It is just like class segregation. It's
Sure is.
just. It is. That is the parallel that I'm drawing. But I was just making the story parallel that like, oh, where Luffy grew up was a lot like this too. Like Kuma and Luffy
Yeah,
have a
it's
lot in common.
consistent.
And then at the end of the day, they set the poor parts of their island on fire just to fuck with them, I guess.
Yep.
Man.
Or to legitimize the fact that they are not indeed part of that country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just little world building
World
things like
government
this.
sucks.
Yeah, it's just
One Piece is unmatched in world building.
dude. I mean, the way that like this is a flashback of one character, and there's just so many other perspectives within this one flashback that we still don't know. We don't know how Dragon met Eva. We don't know what Eva's been doing this interlude time. We don't know what like Ginny and her abilities have grown, if she's like a stronger fighter, if she has a devil fruit at this point herself. There's just like so much to this world. It's just like so full and so like borderline real almost, with how much stuff is packed into it and how many perspectives that you could like view this world from. It's unmatched, man. I don't think there'll ever be another story like this. And yeah, I do want to say that the cover page is also kind of funny, because it's Kuma accidentally like palming a fish away because he has the pawpaw fruit at this point. I guess
Did he
that's
palm
just,
it into the grill? I
no.
didn't see where the fish went.
It went away. It went to a different island.
That's easy.
I think that's why Jenny was yelling at him to wear his gloves. But that was a funny touch. Anyway, that's all I got to say about One Piece. You guys all set to move on? Any final rebuttals?
No, chat.
Yeah, all right. Then let's go. Jujutsu Kaisen. This is Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 241, Foolish Survivor, Win and Remain. And we start off at Tantan University, where we see a young Takaba yelling at his comedy partner about being late. He's like, you don't even write our jokes, and you still can't be on time. And his partner is like, my bad. And he's pissed because he smells the alcohol on him. And I guess they start rehearsing their bit, but it's like he's doing like a rapper bit, I guess, and his partner didn't memorize it, so they can't really practice anymore. Um, and Takaba's just yelling at him to apologize and to take this seriously. And his partner is like, "I'm busy covering for your ass. You never go out drinking with us, and you never laugh at the other comedians." And Takaba's like, "I would if they were funny," but it's like he's basically he's like networking essentially, and Takaba's kind of ruining it by being kind of a sourpuss. And he's like, "So what? Is that a reason to show up at rehearsal hungover?" And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "We perform like twice a year, but we done the same material
He said
today."
yes.
Yeah, he said, "You're always
How brazen.
yeah,
He said, yeah, I do
yeah,
have the right to pull up
yeah,
hungover and late and not giving a fuck, actually. I do have that right.
yeah,
Because of
yeah,
what bullshit.
yeah." He's they get into a big argument because like he's always hanging out and he's like making connections and stuff while this guy's like trying to get his act right. And this guy's like, "What's your problem? Irritated the babes don't dig you?" And Takaba just punches him in the face. And he's like, "No, I want you to take this seriously." And the guy says, like, "Doing comedy with you is no fun. If we don't laugh, then why would the audience?" And we see that over the years, Takaba has been struggling. Obviously, he's not doing well. He's cycled through many partners, and he's pondering like why did he ever become an entertainment? Why is he a comedian? All the while he's being chased by cursed spirits in the present. So at this point he's like, at a certain point he's just like in this like tiny shitty apartment, just kind of like thinking, he's like, how long am I doing this, huh? He's like, there's C1, which is like, I guess, a competition for comedy duos, but he's like, I don't have a partner anymore. And he's saying that he wants to be a regular on a sketch show and MC an idol show, but he's like, how long am I going to keep doing this until what I do until I do what I think is funny to the fullest. And that's kind of like his goal, And we learned that when he was a kid, he was like kind of a really serious kid, and he was hard on others, so it made everybody like kind of dislike him. So he decided to change and start goofing around a little bit more. And once he started making people laugh, he started to make friends. But for whatever reason, he still couldn't make it work with a partner. And now he's basically just like watching comedy on his own, wishing that he could do what they're doing. And we get this, I guess, like inner discussion he's having with his younger self. His like kid self is like, "What do you mean by doing comedy seriously? People want to see me goof around." And Takaba's like, "Well, that may not be what's important. Your backstory doesn't matter to the audience." And he's like, "But is doing it seriously fun? Why are you a comedian anyway?" And he explains that he wanted people to know him, and that's why he got started. And he's like remembering, it's like, why did he say that? Like, it doesn't matter if you don't get my jokes as long as other people do. And he was basically saying that he was right about what he said, saying that you can't make 100 out of 100 people laugh. But in order to protect himself, he took it away and gave up because that was the easiest. He said, I didn't respect comedy. At some point, I stopped taking it serious because I was afraid of getting hurt. And we cut over to the present where Kenjaku is chasing Takaba, but then he stops to see that Kenjaku has taken, in Kenjaku's mind, an earnest and beautiful deep bow. And he never achieved it until his late 20s himself. He's like, wait, what am I thinking? I think he does. He also pictures like the perfect bow.
Yeah, and it has the crescent of like of God or holiness or whatever
Yeah,
that's called.
yeah. And he's like, no, wait,
The
what am I
divine
thinking?
crescent.
And I think he turns behind him. I'm actually kind of unsure here. Is it that like Takaba's just suddenly behind him now? I thought.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because it looked like he just turned around there.
What I think happened was that he just took a strategic position.
Mm.
He couldn't. He's just so keen on combat and strategy that he knew that even thinking something positive of what he was doing was bad. So he's like, let me get ready.
He's like, whoa, I can't give this guy any confidence at all.
None. Yeah, he's such a tryhard.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, to be fair, if he gives Takaba confidence, then his curse technique will be stronger.
But Kenjaku is such a tryhard, though.
Yeah. But hey, we get Takaba just starts yelling. He's like, I lied. I don't really think it doesn't matter if you don't think I'm funny, as long as other people do. I just didn't want to get hurt, so I discounted you to protect myself. But I'm not satisfied with 99 people out of 100 laughing at me, and I got to make that last person laugh. So I got to make you laugh your guts out. That's my brand of comedy. And Kenjaku's like, but do you think you can make me do that? And that's where the chapter ends. And there's no Jujutsu Kaisen this Sunday, so I'm very sad. But anyway,
Shit.
Josh, what did you think about Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 241?
I like this chapter a lot. I am super curious to hear your thoughts on the chapter, but I guess we'll get to that. Regarding his backstory, this was so well fleshed out, and I think I've said this about like a few different series, like with Black Clover as well. But this I think Gigi's really good at you know making his side characters feel important and bringing building a connection with them, even if it's through something so small. Um, like I even remember like the sumo wrestler that
Maki.
Maki, thank you, that Maki fought against. Like these characters really stand out, but this was a little bit deeper because it really comes from a rooted insecurity. And it's so crazy because like I don't I'm not a comedian, so I can't really relate to that, but I can only imagine how like you know to just stand in front of a crowd trying to make people happy and laugh and relate, and to not feel like reciprocated all the time. That is heavy. So it takes a special kind of person to be able to do that, and I have a lot of respect for those people. And this Gigi certainly has the respect for them too, the way he wrote about it. He needs to beat Kenjaku. Like there's no other way around it. Well, he can't die here. I don't know, man. I feel bad, bro.
I mean, it would be
Gigi
great if
does
he
this.
just
He makes
kills.
us connected to these characters, and then he fucking kills them.
Oh God, I can't take it with Takaba. He's already taken so much from us. Takaba at least
Brian,
has to live. I don't mind if he loses, but he should live. Anyway,
he
Brian,
needs
I'm
to
sorry.
live to fight it another day.
I don't know. This chapter was all right for me. It was cool to see a little bit more about Takaba, but I kind of just want to get into the action already for this, because in the grand scheme of things, there is a lot more interesting shit going on aside from Takaba's backstory. So I feel like I'd rather them like get to the point a little bit more, because I feel like a full chapter dedicated to his backstory would, if he dies, and if he ends up dying, would feel kind of lame, in my opinion. Because we dedicated so much time to a character that's literally just gonna die in like 2 chapters, So I don't know. I feel like the next chapter I think is going to make it or break it for me when it comes to this fight between Kenjaku and Takaba. Cool character and all that, but they're dedicating a lot of time to it. So those are my thoughts. I hope next chapter lives up to the expectations for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess you gotta I don't mind them dedicating a chapter to Taka, but especially since it is one chapter here. And Gege tends to be pretty what's the word I'm looking for, I guess. He's really quick with character backstories. There's not a lot of origin stories that are more than one chapter actually. Aside from Gojo, but that's an important arc, I think, in the grand scheme of Jujutsu Kaisen. It was more than just a Gojo backstory. But I think whenever he focuses on other people, it tends to be pretty short. So I imagine the battle is going to continue in the next chapter for sure. I think it's there's some stuff that I can relate to. I've been doing stand up. I'm an open micer still, so it's I'm not a professional or anything, but I've definitely can see where he gets some of this stuff. There's this old cliche about even when you're doing well in front of a group of people, if you see one person not laughing, there's just a little thing in the back of your mind that's what the hell's going on here? It almost feels like you're bombing. You're your brain tricks you in that sense, so you try to get that person in a sense. And I think that's what the story is here, is just aspiring to get everybody in the room, which you want to make the maximum amount of people laugh at any given point. So I definitely understand that part of it, and the discounting of people to make yourself feel better is an ego thing is kind of a true thing, and I never really thought about it like that. Protecting your own ego by saying that well, this guy just doesn't get it. And that could be true. It's just it's one of those things where it's not something you can really control in reality. You can only aspire to get everybody, But yeah, the whole point of it is just not to lose confidence, essentially. Not to let that one person who's not laughing in the room ruin it for yourself and for other people there. So I think that's kind of the lesson here, which I think is a good lesson overall. I think you could just apply that to anything. It's not just a comedy thing. It's just not letting the little things, not getting too serious about it. Just remember why you're doing it and why, whatever you're doing means a lot to you. It's a good lesson to have. But I am very excited to see some more reality warping joke shit going on here. I am A-okay if he wants to kill Kenjaku. I am A-okay with that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I would hope that Takuba's not going to die. How many people can you really kill before it starts to feel kind of depressing, this story? You know what I mean? In a not fun way. How many characters?
Well, Demon Slayer did it.
They did do it, but I guess when Demon Slayer did it, it was
and I hated them for it.
When Demon Slayer did it, it at least led to a result. You can't have constant meaningless death. You know what I mean?
I do think Yuta is gonna show up and help.
Probably. That's a distinct possibility that at the end of the day, Takuba is going to get rescued by somebody. But
because apparently everybody can teleport in this show.
Everybody moves very quickly. Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite moments of this arc is just how Takuba casually pulled up to the battle. He was root do 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 do. So, I'm kind of enjoying this, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But those are really all my thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen. Do we have any rebuttals?
Nope.
Oh, jeez. Almost dropped my glasses. Alrighty then. With that being said, then let's move onward. World Trigger. Okay, this is World Trigger, chapter 238, the away mission test, part 34. Okay, I'm not gonna dig too deep in this, because this is a lot of
alternate title.
What?
Alternate title. If you didn't like it before, you gonna hate this.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty true. Uh
I'm gonna also preface this whole chapter by saying I absolutely loved it. Too bad One Piece stole the show.
yeah. I enjoyed it a fair bit. I could definitely understand why if people don't like it. But okay, so I am going to abridge this as much as I can, mostly because this is like 29 pages of explaining character creation. uh so basically this this whole chapter is explaining a character creation uh mode in in the World Trigger.
Bro, this shit is a meme now because of Brian.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you're happy, bro.
I am happy.
You wanted to
You're-
get me back for Dirty Deku?
yeah.
Poor writing and all of that. You felt that salty, huh? I get it. I
Oh.
feel some kind of way too.
I wouldn't call this or Dirty Deku poor writing, for the record.
Bleach was my favorite series, or the Bleach equivalent. Be pretty salt too.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the best I can give an abridged version of this nearly 30-page chapter. So one of the assignments for the away mission is that everybody gets their opportunity to create a Tryon soldier. Everybody in the exam has a determinate amount of currency that they can use to make this Tryon soldier. Some people have more than others based on their Tryon level. So among Sua's squad, we see that Oki has 12,000 points to use on his Tryon soldier. Suwa and Katori have 1,080, and Osamu and their operator have 600 each to create Tryon soldiers with. So, breaking it down, using these points, basically, they are able to, mod their Tryon soldier however they can, in terms of strength, in terms of speed, defense, support, and dexterity. The drawback is if you have there is a team budget overall. So there's a pool of 12,000 points that any squad can use. So the bigger Tryons soldiers that are created you can't use too much. So that's a good balance. That makes it like a balanced thing. So there's just like Ninomiya can't just make
There's a cap on resources.
right. So Ninomiya just can't make the strongest Tryon soldiers ever, and Chika can't just make a billion of the strongest soldiers ever. They got to use them sparingly.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's also
regarding the customations themselves, if I may.
Oh, yeah,
just
please.
like generally speaking, it's actually really intricate and detailed down to the point that the different armor you choose or the different like legs or different pieces of the Tryon warriors you create have varying effects. Like there was the concept from the previous test with action tokens where if you have a really strong move, it's going to cost a lot of tokens, just like how other games are, where if the strong moves usually have some type of drawback to it, like a cooldown or making you wait a turn or something like that, et cetera, et cetera. Same rules apply here. So there's also the concept of you can make several weak soldiers. You can make an abundance of weaker Tryon soldiers, flanked by a handful of really strong ones, depending on how you manage the budget of Tryon available. So there's just so much customization, and so anywhere your imagination could take, and I'm sure the series is gonna get is going to give us a more of a engaged look at it once the battles start. But I think when Kuga starts talking about strategy with his team, it gets really interesting.
Yeah. So they could also like equip their guys with the weapons that we're all familiar with: blades, shields, asteroids, meteors, grenades, and so on and so forth. Um, so Osamu basically says that like he's this stuff is relying on teamwork tactics will be tough in this setting because these co-op actions require points assigned to the support stat. So it'd be better if they go like in a direction that's different from like I guess super like equipping a bunch of ammo and stuff and like long distance shots, I guess. Um so they start talking about, the other ones like the skills also. They got chameleons, bagworms, a blocking move. But there are unfamiliar ones like jamming and vital strike. So, they have like Trion soldiers that are able to neutralize enemy radars, and stuff like that. There's the vital strike, which is basically when your attack damages an enemy unit, regardless of the damage amount. There's a 30% chance that there will be a bailout. So, it's not as like deadly as it sounds, because it's only a 30% chance. But when you pass it to when you pump it to max level, it only procs 10% of the time. So, yeah, there's that. I don't know. This game stuff is like kind of lost on me,
dude.
but
Really large opportunity cost for a small chance. So it's not really
worth it.
not really super viable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, I've had ideas. You could create a Tryon soldier whose sole purpose is to move around and just like take a sniper shot. And those, like, if it could shoot fast, weak bullets, and you have like that 10% on it, you know what I'm saying? You can sneak kill a lot of people easily.
That's a good idea. So I think Katori makes an opera cat, like a cat shaped Tryon soldier. It's stripped down
The
to nothing.
operator does.
Oh, is that her? Okay, my bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, the operator makes a cat that is basically legs and a radar. So, they're cheap to create.
Oh, Yui.
Yeah, Yui. They're cheap to create, and they can make a bunch of them and just have a radar going. Uh so Osamu makes a shield gunner because he doesn't have much Tryon, so he's pretty much stuck making kind of weak units. So he's like, will a loadout with a ray guns make this even tougher for me? But in the meantime, at that moment, that's when they get the exercise rules, and it basically goes: the only units usable in the special battle simulation are Tryon soldiers. So, the combined cost of all deployed units must fall within the squad budget of 12,000. Multiples of the same unit may be deployed, but each squad member's individual creation must be used in every match, at least one of each unit. So when a given unit is defeated, the other squad receives points in equivalent to that unit's creation cost. Until the enemy unit is defeated, its creation cost and point value is unknown. Each match lasts up to 5 turns. The final gap is in points is 2,000 or greater. With more points wins. If the gap in points is less than 2,000, the match is, I don't know, it's covered up. But I imagine tied, disqualified. I don't know. But basically, Utagawa squad is reading through these rules and explaining that the biggest difference between this and the previous sims is the points awarded. In the being awarded in the creation costs. So beating a strong soldier earns you more points, as opposed to in the previous version of the battle sims. I imagine everybody is worth the same amount of points. So up to now, we only get a single point per kill, no matter how powerful or wimpy they were. So this is a little bit of a more fair thing, I guess. But but their operator is basically saying that, like, but high value units would truly be strong. Think about Chica, for instance. So, Chica is going to be very strong in this match, is what everybody's afraid of. So people are just like, the Utagawa squad is basically trying to think of a strategy, but Kotaro actually asks Kuga to chime in, and Yuma actually has like a little moment to us, like, oh shit. Well, it'd be pretty suspicious for an ordinary Japanese boy to know the ins and outs of Tryon soldiers. I think Utagawa picks up on this and basically asks Yuma to explain it in the way that that Shiori knows it, because Shiori, being an operator, knows the ins and outs of Tryon soldiers pretty good. And so he basically explains that on a basic level, Tryon soldiers designated with roles tend to fulfill their functions better for a given cost. But the ones loaded up with lots of abilities inevitably cost more. So when deploying groups of them, it's typical to tone down special features and instead opt for teamwork tactics. So Kotaro is like, but having ours together would mean spending resources on the support stat, and that could cost a lot. But Yuma explains that, like, the thing is, real Tryon soldiers have different brain parts. So there's high solo performance types, standard solo types, and team tactics types. But there's not a setting like that here. So the teamwork route is going to be tricky to pull off in terms of abilities and costs. So that's probably not going to be the best. And they're explaining is like, and Yuma explains then that, like, the right counter strategy is to do nothing at all. And they get into some quick maths that I kind of like lost track of in this moment, where they say at the start of the match there's 12 enemy units on the radar, assuming none of them are hidden from view. What's the expected cost of a single unit? And Kotaro is basically like, likely between 800 and 1200 at any rate. And he's like, well, now what if we see 20 units? And then that would mean every one of them is worth 600. And they they then consider the possibility is like, what if they toss in a bunch of cheap dummy units? They could still include a decent number of burly ones. And in that event, we'd end up facing stronger foes than expected. This is a lot of math. I'm not doing a good job of abridging this, but basically,
I mean, the point is that there's a lot of different variations. There's no way to tell for sure.
mm-hmm.
So it's not really worth it trying to prepare for a specific formation.
Right.
And that it's more valuable to spend the time and resources than to, creating an offensive approach.
Yeah.
Since the knowledge is so limited, and if they lose, they're not losing their lives, right? It's just a game.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that's basically what Yuma says in a nutshell. Basically, not to overthink it, and in this situation, to maybe like go more offensive and like just put the enemy on their toes, just geared towards like an all-out blitzing offense, to build like basically practical stat builds and loadouts, so that like they could just force the enemy to overthink themselves while they keep their plan pretty simple. So I think that's basically the gist of it, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And basically that's where the chapter ends, where Utagawa squad basically decides on a blitzing strategy, and yeah, so they start to, I guess, assemble their Tryon units, and that's where the chapter ends. Josh, what did you think about World Trigger chapter 238?
Like I said, I really enjoyed this chapter. I think this is even better than before because I didn't know how they were gonna go about it, but I really enjoy the sheer amount of customization that's allowed. I don't think it's important that we have to remember all of these specific details. I think he's just kind of drawing out the setting and the rules. Like, hey, you're gonna expect to see something crazy or a bunch of different things. All of this is within the realm of possibility, and we're gonna take it fight by fight. And I think we are gonna get like some real actual like action with these machines. At least as far as like the way it's drawn, compared to how it was before. But even if it's similar like that chibi style or whatever, I just think there's gonna be more of it. I can't wait to see all the unique warriors that are developed and how like people put their personality into the Tryon soldiers, like combat wise and just flavor wise. This could be really cool. I think some characters are gonna get really, really good at this, and they're gonna incorporate it as part of their like the battle, their combat. Having a little sidekick or something. That'd be really cool. If all of them did, that'd be really nice. Anyway, Brian,
I actually didn't.
you know what?
Mind this chapter.
Before, hold on.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't? All right.
Josh was bracing himself.
You guys might cover it anyway. No. I wanted to say something else, but one of y'all might bring it up anyway, so it's okay.
So, I actually liked the inclusion of the Tryon soldiers now because now I feel like this is something that I can actually take away that is going to affect them in the future. Like I feel like now we're learning more about how Tryon soldiers work, and maybe there's a chance that that they get to develop Tryon soldiers themselves on these away missions and stuff like that, and now we get to know how they're constructed and how to use them and shit like that. So I basically only tuned in. I started paying attention again when the Tryon soldiers started becoming a thing. I was like, oh shit, okay, something that I feel like I could actually learn from. So that was pretty neat. This is a very pleasant surprise. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter to see what the fuck they're gonna do because, man, give me more. Give me more like useful shit. No more like fucking whack ass game modes without any connection to like actually like things that are actually happening. But aside from that, I don't got much to say. I'm actually interested in this game. If they did this 10 chapters ago, I would be much more happy with this arc.
Yeah. I'm at a point where I'm appreciating the amount of detail going into this. I really do. And I don't know if it's like the time I read it. I don't know if it's the time that I read it. I don't know if I'm just like kind of tired from the day at work and we're just like a little late today, but I'm like, oh God, this is a lot of shit. Once I hit the math, I was like, fuck. This guy really wants to make a game. It is rough with this game, with this battle sim part sometimes because I actually don't expect to memorize, and I don't think it's important that you memorize every like little detail about the games, because it's more about watching the characters problem solve more than anything. But yeah, it is one of those things where it reminds me a lot. This is World Trigger's Greed Island, for sure.
And I skipped Greed Island.
This is a World Trigger's Greed Island 100%. I think Greed Island's a little more egregious in how like hardcore they went with the game because
Damn,
This-
so thank God I skipped Greed Island.
Yeah, Greed Island is much more intricate and slightly annoying. But yeah, this is the first time where I got like kind of
Wow.
yeah. What you? I'm sorry. I didn't hate Greed Island. Honestly, I think Greed Island is very important, and you should read. You should read and watch it. I don't regret it, but in terms of the rules of the game itself, and like having to like go through the whole rigmarole of the explanation of the rules, it very much is similar. Or the breakdown of strategies in playing the game. It definitely
It's not bad.
it's not bad. I never said it was
What's wrong
bad.
with y'all?
I never said it was bad. I'm just saying it reminded me of Greed Island.
Well, I never watched Greed Island, so I can't make a opinion on Greed Island.
It was cool.
No, I think like the story of Greed
There's a
Island
lot-
is. Oh, Josh, I think you're cutting out a little
He's turning into a lizard.
bit. I think Greed Island is very important.
It was just they came the same card, bro.
It what?
They kept using the same teleport cards, son.
They did keep using the same teleport card. Yeah, I guess like no, I'm talking about like the expositional parts of it. I wasn't like too crazy about the game, especially since like the game part itself isn't mega important. There's a lot of like kind of fluff to make the game feel real and more realistic and more three-dimensional. But yeah, this is the first
I didn't
time.
say anything.
Huh?
I didn't say anything.
Wait, say it again. That was probably me. I just didn't hear me. Josh?
Josh.
Anyway, all I'm saying is like this is the first time where I was like a little bogged down by the rule, but I think it was generally just like kind of when I read it. I read it like not too long ago at like 8:30 at night after a long day at work, so you know. This was a chapter for sure that you needed to read with a fresh mind because it is a lot of info. But overall it does make sense. It's not a bad writing or anything. It's just I hope you like reading about, you know, game strategies, which is, you know, sometimes it's people's thing. But this is the first time I was a little exhausted by it. I am excited to see how everybody's Trion soldiers like turn out now that I understand the ins and outs of it. So, you know, I've got nothing but optimism for World Trigger going forward. I think I was just a little tired for this one, but that's my bad. Do we have any rebuttals? Anything to mention?
No.
Josh? Oh, his voice is lagging. I don't know. Well, oh, he'll be back. Anyway, I guess we should move on then. That was World Trigger. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, he's back.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. All right. I was just asking if did you have any rebuttals or
I have a
anything?
rebuttal.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm gonna read something for you guys. The definition of a fair weather fan. A fan of a sports team who only shows support
Oh
when
my
the
god.
team is doing well.
Oh my
During
god.
hard times,
Oh my god. I'm not going to tolerate
usually
this.
like a team. They basically have no real loyalty to the team,
Wow.
but still manage to get better seats than you at the game. Strangely, they
Wow.
mysteriously vanish at
Wow.
the first sign of
Josh, you're a
trouble.
fucking hater. That's not what's happening.
Brian's a
Whoop.
fair weather fan of
Hell no,
World
I'm not.
Trigger.
This arc is fucking dog shit, bro.
The one time
dog
I
shit.
enjoy something, all right, I'm never gonna enjoy this arc ever again, bro. You have officially sealed World Trigger's fate. This series is such a fucking fraud.
We don't need you.
I don't want you to need me. This fucking shit is blows. The one time I like it,
You
and
know
you're
it's
gonna
awesome.
shit on me, bro. Nah, man. Nah. World Trigger fans just can't win. They just can't take a win. Bro.
Strangely, they mysteriously vanish.
Yeah,
at
you
the
know,
first sign
not
of
strangely at
trouble.
all. Very, very fucking appropriate that I vanish when this series is ass. Very appropriate.
He's just saying that because Josh heard him.
No, I
He's-
mean it. This series has been dog shit for like 5 months, and you guys are you're gonna call me a fair weather
Wait, but
fan?
hold on. Nah, but all jokes aside, listen to the example they have, right? So, regular fan. Oh no, so the weather fan says, "Oh my God, what a cut! That was amazing." And regular says, "How would you know? You left when the quarterback threw a pick six in the second quarter." And then I don't know. I guess that's the whole point. Like they left when shit got rough. But nah, I'm just giving you some shit, Brian, because I love World
Nah,
Trigger, and it's blasphemous to hear
it's too
anything
late.
bad about
It's
it.
too late. You burned the bridge. I had an olive branch
Well,
for this arc.
what?
I had an olive branch extended to you for this
feel
for this
bad.
chapter. You have single-handedly
You're gonna
put
sacrifice
this
your
one
enjoyment
into
of
the-
an incredible
I was not
series.
enjoying shit. I'll be honest.
Damn.
I've
Yeah, I
not
toughed
been
it out through the
enjoying it.
dirty days.
The mention of a Tryon soldier is what got me through this chapter.
It did it for you.
Yeah, that was enough because oh man, all of a sudden
The
I
Tryon
actually
soldiers
can
got you
care
hot and
about this
bothered.
arc. All of a sudden I can finally care about what's happening. You're welcome, Josh.
Um,
I think that's it, right?
I'm not a fair weather friend, first of all. All right. I'm not gonna take that shit. I've been on World Trigger's bandwagon.
That wasn't extended to you, Chris.
Well,
You're not a no. That was for Brian.
Hmm?
That was for you. I know you haven't been loving it, but you can at least see the potential and
Yeah.
like like the groundwork being put in.
mm,
You mean like right now, the first time he ever did any groundwork that's probably gonna be worth anything later in the series, right?
it's too late
Like,
for this
that's what you
fight
mean?
right now.
I've mentioned
You mean
with
that's
more
between, like,
than-
Like before he was building off of fucking
there
an
was more
imaginary
character
tower.
development in this arc any character had in My Hero Academia.
That's just
Sans
like,
Todoroki, I guess.
that is fucking blasphemy.
Yeah, well, he didn't hit the skip forward button.
I wish he did, to be honest. I really wish he did.
Well, all right. We're just gonna have to move on. We're just gonna have to call it a draw. Let's move on to our next series. Undead Unluck. And with that, I'm gonna pass this over to Josh.
All right, Undead Unluck, chapter 182, Yoshifumi Tozuka, Sunspot. I ain't gonna lie, low key, this one was really, really good too. Like, One Piece just be going fucking crazy, and World Trigger. Anyway, last week they really fucking set it on the Uma Sick, the Super Uma Sick, and Andy pulled up randomly for the first time in this loop, which was very nice. But he was just a clone, and he said, "I got you, Fugo. Tell me who to beat up." And he, yeah. Sick got cut in half, and then he got teleported to the strange world. And Fuko, being one of the best MCs ever, and also on a scale of 1 to 10, a million on the gangster scale, jumps into the universe alone. And like as to not be outdone by any other character in recent memory, at least for me personally, she pulls out her guns and gets Gelly immediately without
I
asking
hope
questions.
he turns his sword into some guns.
When I read this and was like, whoa, okay, Fuko
It's
is
called
not
partner, but it
playing.
should be called gangster time.
Nah, but because she is a pacifist for the most part. A lot of the time she tries to conversate and come to amends through different means, but I guess we'll have more about that later. So, surprise, she didn't kill all of the final enemies and end the series right here and now. All the bullets stopped in front of their faces, and none of them cared except for maybe two. As we see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
There's 10.
9 brand new characters. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, sick doesn't count. His kind of old now. We've seen him before.
So yeah. Technically, it should be 11. you know, like
because he's
Jojo.
in half. Because there's 2 of sick now.
Yeah. Talking about bringing up old wounds. Anyway,
Bro, sick is tired.
all right,
I just
let's
noticed
play a game.
half
Let's
of
play-
him is limping.
Yeah, look at
He's one half of him is limping. He's just like, oh
he got his
god,
ass beat.
I'm so tired, bro.
He's like, yeah, other Umas may not care, but I went really hard and took it seriously. Got my ass beat. But let's play the game of how many of these characters definitely don't care that Fuko's here. That it's not a big deal to them. I'm counting 1.
1, 2. This old
3,
guy, the nun
4.
lady, the main guy. I feel
Yeah,
like the
for
the
sure.
guy in the armor cares a little bit.
He cares a little bit because his eyes are averted.
Mhm.
If it was just black with no eyes looking,
Mhm.
just like I don't care that something just landed next to me, I'm still looking into the void.
Mhm.
Yeah. The woman, I would argue, she cares because she's looking,
Yeah, she's
I
pressed.
guess. But
She
she's,
looks upset.
yeah. The other one does not care. The one above her,
Mm-hmm.
the young one,
The little
not at
boy
all.
or girl is just like
More interested.
She's like, whoa, what is
More
that? But
interested
I don't
than
care
anything.
really.
Yeah. The guy with the cigarette doesn't care. I don't think he's even looking towards Fugo's
This
direction.
metal skull thing.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't give a shit.
Nope. The one below her, absolutely not. Not even in the slightest.
She's reading a book right now.
Yeah, exactly.
not care.
But all right. The nun doesn't care. She's praying.
Beast guy
The
here.
old guy above him, he cares.
But Beast guy
He
cares.
cares a little too much.
He cares the most.
Yeah, he definitely he cares enough for the rest of them. It's looking like.
Yeah.
But we cannot forget the number one. The kid all the way to the right on the top.
Yeah.
He just
Number 1.
no. Everything is fine. Nothing's ever gonna be a threat or has been a threat to him or can foresee being a threat.
He's just so damn
Had
strong.
to do this, guys. Yeah. It's a trope, and you know what? It happens to be one of my favorites.
Guy who's overly cheery because he doesn't think he'll ever be defeated.
No, it's the spread in general,
Mm-hmm.
where like half of them are like IDK,
IDC.
IDC, yeah, IDC. Sure. So anyway, let's move past this. So, turns out this room happens to be where the remaining boss Umas. There was a specific name for them, and it's somewhere in this chapter too.
The Master
but
Rules.
It escapes me.
The Master
There
Rules.
we go. Master Rules. I said boss rules. That's pretty close.
Either way, I think it works.
Boss rules sounds better actually. So I'm
Boss
gonna go
Rules
for
does
that
sound
one.
better.
Yeah. I'm changing that. So all right, cool. So basically the one of them, the one that doesn't care actually. Surprise, he does care, and he's like, "Why did you attack us?" I talked all that shit for nothing, actually. And Fugo's like, "Here he is, the main one."
The
one that
main
speaks for
man.
them all. Yes. Yeah, this is the guy. And basically they what is it? I said, we're in the home stretch of the eons long game. Picking a fight with us only to wind up dead won't make for much of a finale. So, he's talking shit to Fugo, like basically, don't approach us and ruin what we're trying to plan. And the funny thing is that Fugo stands up for Sick, and that he was strong, and that we would have lost if it wasn't for Andy arriving. Which begs the logical question Foucault thought, which is why haven't y'all all attacked this? There's got to be some type of condition. And she guesses it's only by way of, excuse me, by way of quest. Good guess. So so she said that's why I shot y'all. She was like, I figured the text wouldn't connect with y'all. But even if they did connect, then I would have been able to kill everybody just like that. And he's like, "Oh shit!" Well, it didn't work out that way, right? Anyway, he says that Foucault's out of her mind. She is unhinged. That's fair. I won't deny that about Foucault, but that
Yeah,
doesn't.
she's crazy.
It only makes it better, though. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? He's not saying anything. So anyway, there's some more banter. Someone says she's just one of the woman that kind of cared a little bit. Uh, like she's just a vessel. Uh, whatever. Like I said, banter, and then the guy says basically he said if you answer, the guy told Fugo if you answered him, that he would tell her anything she wanted to know, and naturally she wants to know, where's Andy at? And they give out this the explanation I had no idea was coming, which was that basically Andy's on the sun, just sitting there, holding back the boss Umas with his soul. And the only reason Sick was able to get through is because like he started to weaken a little bit. And now that he went to go help Fuko, his soul weakened a little bit more. So now the other boss Umas could slip through via quest. So shit's about to start getting shaken. Anyway, they trying to put pressure on Fuko and tell her that it's only a matter of time before we pull up. And that did he ask you to save him? He made a clone to tell you that, and she's like, nope. If him reaching out this time held any message, it could only be leave things here to me while you kick ass. With 2 guns in her back pocket. What?
Yeah.
And then and then through the gate, the whole squad was ripped. I'm touched.
This is part of the war in the
This
Bronx.
is just, yeah. Man, it doesn't get realer than this.
Yeah, it's a hell of a panel. It's really cool.
And yeah, mission set. Andy's been buying them time, and they're probably not gonna see him for a little while. But Fuko swears she's gonna negate those stupid boss ass Umas. And then she says, "Sick. We'll bring it on." End of this chapter. Chris, what were your thoughts? And god damn it, why couldn't this be the RGC? Oda is a bastard sometimes,
Yeah, this was my second place.
for sure.
My shonen feelings were like in full bore. This really took me back in a really good way to just good old general shonen. I didn't think we'd ever get this outside of Black Clover, but there's
Yeah.
nothing like a good old fashioned fucking shonen villain group that matches up exactly to the numbers with the hero group. So that we are potentially,
Do they?
yeah, it would be 10 union members to 10 master rules.
Oh, that's so cool.
so that we
This
could
is like the Espada, bro.
yeah.
The fucking Akatsuki, man.
Mm,
Like the fucking warlords, bro. The CPO, all of that.
yeah. This is a villain group among villain groups. They all do the whole villain group thing. They probably hate each other.
Oh yeah, they can't fucking stand each
They
other.
probably hate each other's guts, but they have to work together.
They probably all came from the same village and was really poor and had to fight their way out, like the spiders.
Yeah, lots of fucking cool moments in this. Fuko shooting off at all 10 of them immediately is so cool. Their designs are cool. I don't know what the rules they could possibly inhabit are. I don't know what the knight is. I think like the beast guy may be nature.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Uh I don't know, the priest
Well,
may be.
maybe they're probably more abstract than that. Maybe,
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
it's
This lady
like
has DNA hair.
instinct. Yeah, what?
So like what, genes?
Oh, that's not good.
Is she the rule of genes? I'm trying to like suss out context clues as to how these people what they could be. The girl reading, is she knowledge?
Right.
I don't know.
Who's this guy sitting down?
I don't know who the old guy is. Time? Age?
Probably.
Father Time? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know who the knight could be. And I don't know
He's
who.
definitely fighting against the unbreakable.
Yeah. Man, yeah, it's just so
If it
cool.
doesn't happen, I'm gonna throw my laptop out this fucking window.
I think that's a little bit extreme.
Maybe I'll let me reel it back a little bit.
It feels like a bit much. You just got that laptop. I thought the panel with Andy and the sun was so fucking cool too. A lot of really big dramatic moments in this that like really just hit the mark. Andy on the moon, Andy on the sun, sorry, with his finger extended, because he just shot off a part of himself to help Fuko, was a cool thing. If you look closely at the hand that's pointed upward, very cool. That last panel where she's walking back to the hospital, her whole squad behind her, or her whole squad ahead of her, the two guns in her back of her, in her back, so good, so good, so sick, so sick.
Like, but we're talking like Denzel and Training Day levels of fucking cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Am I exaggerating right now?
No, this is.
You could tell me to stop.
This is genuinely very cool. I'm
I mean,
quite
like,
into it.
LL Cool J in the '90s, fucking James Bond with a cocktail. You know what I'm saying?
This is just
Those
cool.
levels are cool.
I'm here for it. I'm here for well executed traditional shonen shit. I'm here for it. I'm okay with it.
Dude, the nun, they said that she smelled like death, flesh and bones. That's gross. What? What they say about her? Yeah, they hate her.
I don't like her.
She hates them. They tell her, they said she reeks of blood and guts. I might skip that fight. Y'all could just give me the recap.
Well, we have to do it for the squad, for the citizens. It's very cool. Very, very, very sick. So sick. And those are my thoughts. Josh, do you have any rebuttals?
Yeah, Andy was on the sun for billions of years.
Yeah.
His regeneration is unmatched. Wolverine could never.
No.
What else? I mean, he just doesn't die.
No.
I can't wait to see him on Death Battle. Speaking of Death Battle, the next episode coming out is Rick from Rick and Morty versus Doctor Who.
I don't know enough about Doctor Who to really like make
Me
that
neither,
call.
but I know that's a classic show.
Yeah, I watched like maybe like 2 seasons of it. I feel like it's a weird matchup.
Was it required by your class?
No, I just like watched it out of curiosity. I watched like a season of it. It was good, you know.
I won't say anything sarcastic about it.
I didn't really, yeah, I didn't really stay on it, but I liked it. I like what I saw, but yeah. It's, I could just feel the energy radiating off of Josh.
But it's all right. I just got one thing to say. Okay?
Yeah, all right.
Just one thing.
You sure?
Did you feel any like cultural zeitgeist with it? Like, did you feel like maybe like, yeah, this is, even though you don't like it, that this is objectively good?
No. I wouldn't. Nothing's objectively good, but
And that like your life is at least the smallest of percentile better because you watched some of it.
sure.
The smallest.
I'll say the smallest. Because I liked it. I liked it okay. I just didn't like keep up with it. You know, when you absorb any kind of good art, you know your life is a percentile better.
Well, except for the previous World Trigger arc, if you're Brian Espinal, apparently.
You ruined it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it then, yeah? Josh?
That shirt says good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been said that. It's pretty much.
Them titties say big.
Oh, God. God damn it.
All right, now we're done.
All right. Oh, boy. Oh, well, that was Undead Unluck, and that has been our show. Thank you guys so much for listening, as per usual. You can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Josh is at JDCole_37 on Twitter and Instagram. Brian is at B.ESP on Twitter and Instagram. Check him out where he's streaming at twitch.tv/itspunchline. Email the show at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about. Hit us up on that. And yeah, we'll read them on the pre-show chat show next week, which we'll be back for sure when we start up a little bit earlier and a little better rested. But yeah, hit us up on that. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Please do. If you prefer audio podcasts, we're pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. Regardless, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere you want to listen to podcasts, we are defo on there. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you guys next week. Stay safe, New Jump citizens.
Peace out, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Bye.